Alright, well, good morning, folks. It is Nick Mulbauer here, and we have our probably 20th crappie this morning. Get him unstuck. There's what we're working with. Dinkers, guys. Dinkers. This is actually one of the better ones. And I'm working on a stringer this morning. And what I already did was I have my marker buoys out here as usual. Got some brush out here. And I'm just fan casting for them. It basically came down to finding the right color. I know the water clarity here is really good. And that being said, I have about as natural color swim bait on as I can get. This is a little Keitech 2-inch easy shiner swim bait. And that's what they're biting. They won't bite any other color again this morning. They need it to be very natural this morning. So there's a massive population of crappie this size, 6 to like 9 inch. And I'm just cleaning a couple of them out of here because there's so many in here that I would say you probably catch your limit of them and you're not hurting anything. So that's what I got going on so far. And I'll probably fish for crappie a while this morning, fill a little stringer, and if we have enough time I might do a little bit of bass fishing too. So we'll just see what the morning brings, and we'll just make it up as we go today. No goals, no expectations. I just wanted to come out here and do some fishing, and it's a lot of fun feeling that crappie thump again. Especially fan casting this morning. Here's a decent one, guys. This is decent for this morning. Like that dinky little turd. But I know that's the case out here. Like I said, the average out here for fish this size is just through the roof. So I just wanted to see if they were biting fan casting. I just miss fan casting. It's so fun. So I thought I'd come out here, like I said, this morning and try to fan cast a little bit. The water clarity is probably, you know, 4 or 5 foot, which is very clear for this body of water. So I'm just fishing a really natural colored jig and Keitech easy shiner, and I'm just culling through them. I mean, for every one I keep that's like even that size, I have to catch like 5, 6 to 10 small ones to even get an eater. That's how massive the population of these fish are. You get here on the right day, there are some really nice sized crappie in this body of water, but it seems like they're really hard to come across, or they're gonna be mixed in with all the smalls, and you're just gonna have a tough time getting on those larger fish unless you're really fortunate and you just come across a school. But it's just, you know, there's just tons of them. That just never stops, you know. There's that lure. I think I've showed it to you guys before, but very natural. It just looks so good in that water, and they wouldn't take anything else. Even other natural colored lures, like if it didn't have that transparency, I don't think it'd be working. They're not taking anything very opaque. They want that translucent plastic this morning. I think it just kind of looks just right in that water. I think how it appears in the water must just have just the right look to them. It just looks correct to them, and that's what they want this morning. I'm on a 32nd ounce Jighead. Nice slow fall. They'll give you multiple opportunities at it, like you can see there. I hit it 3 times. They're nothing special, but it is fun to feel that thump when you're doing the fan casting. It's just a different kind of crappie fishing. I've been doing a lot of bobber and a minnow and vertical jigging, and this is just a different feel. See, That brush pile is just 2 feet below the surface of the water, and that's what they're holding to. Over 15 feet of water. So it's quite the pile of tree and trespass under there. Hey-oh, there's a decent one, guys. Caught another 20 before this one came out. It's a better fish. Get that one unstuck. That's what we're looking for, guys. It's a little better one. See, there's next to nothing on these guys, but that's at least a big enough one to keep and throw on the stringer for dinner. I might be moving to a different brush pile here soon, but after I get this guy on the stringer, we'll recap the morning here. I'll show you guys my stringer here. Those big ones thumb just a little better than those dinkers. Big is relative, but there's kind of our situation there. I don't know how many I got there, 7, something like that. Nothing of size, but if they were big, I'd definitely be throwing them back because those are very rare out here. Really good size ones you don't happen upon. At least in the last year or two, it's been tougher to get on a bite with some really decent sized fish. But yeah, the water clarity is just so good that this easy shiner is just the ticket. I love using this lure for our really clear creeks around here, and I thought it'd be just the thing for this water being as clear as it is. And I'm on a 32nd ounce jig head, like I said. It's kind of not ideal for vertical jigging in my opinion because it's so light, it's harder to see it register on my flasher. But it's so calm today that it still does work and I can pick up on it. In addition to that, these fish are so aggressive this morning that you don't need to know exactly where your jig is to pick them off. If it gets down to the right level, you're just going to get that crappie thump. That's the deal though, guys. You can stay on a spot and catch dinks all morning, but you might get some larger individuals move in. We had the sun come up here, and I think maybe it might be activating these fish. I might get on a different brush pile, but if I'm going to start having better averages, which that isn't anything, but that's been a lot bigger than what I've been catching. So if I start averaging larger fish, I might stick around a little longer. And that's just part of the patience game. There's so many crappie out here that you just got to cull through them and just hope that a larger school happens upon your jig and plastic, because it does happen sometimes. You'll be catching smalls all morning, and then all of a sudden some larger fish just come along, and all of a sudden you're in some big ones. That's just fishing, guys. You never know. You never know. Another good one, guys. We're getting some good ones here. We're calling through them, just vertical jigging them. Since the sun's moved up, those fish have moved down, and this stuff is so thick that I cannot fan cast it when they move down. If they're higher in the water column, I can just graze that jig over top of that brush pile, but as the sun moves higher in the sky, those fish are moving deeper in the column, and now I'm having to vertical jig them. I can still pick off a few here and there fan casting, but it is definitely more effective vertical jigging these fish right now. Again, for every good one, I have to catch quite a few smalls. So I'll probably catch 3 or 4 more and call it good on keeping crappie. And like I said, I won't keep anything too big because they're rare and I appreciate those fish. There is a large enough segment of 10-inch fish that you can keep a few 10-11-inch fish, but if you want to keep those 6 to 8 inchers, keep as many as you want. If you ever find yourself out at this spot, I'd say go ahead and keep a full limit of them. Anything in that 6 to 9 inch range, or 6 to 8 inch range, like just keep as many as you want and get them out of here. There are so many crappie in here. There's a massive population of crappie that size in here. Anything 12 plus I would throw back. Hey, good morning, guys. It's Nick Mulbauer here, and I just wanted a quick recap of that entire trip from the other day. I think the only real key takeaway I would like to make a note on from that trip is just the power of finding the right color. So, prior to me fishing that 2-inch Keitech Easy Shiner swim bait, I had been messing with some Bobby Garland colors. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I knew that the water clarity was way up compared to what that body of water usually is, so I figured the fish would want something very natural in the first place. And what I started with was, I started with two different lures. I started with a pretty translucent purple Bobby Garland, but they were not interested in it. The other bait I tried was the Bobby Garland Itty SwimR, and that's that 1¼ inch. It's just the smallest bait. And I was fishing it in kind of like a milky white. I don't know what the color is. It's not a very projecting lure at all. So, I mean, they swim in that clear water pretty well and without looking too wild in the water. But it wasn't until I switched to that ultra transparent Easy Shiner from Keitech that they started biting, and it was pretty much night and day. Once I switched to that, it was lights out. I mean, they were hitting it about every cast or every drop when I had to start vertical jigging. They just loved that color, and I never had to change again. It just shows you the power of changing colors and just really honing in on what those fish want. I feel like more often in dirty water, I'll be switching those jigs more often, like the plastic colors, but when I find something that works really well in clear water, a lot of times I can just stick with it and I do not have to change it again. I think those fish can see that lure off from a really long distance, and they know exactly how they want that lure to be seen. They know what it should look like in water clarities that are 4+ feet. When it's in clear water, they can see that bait way off in the distance, and they can really have more time to analyze it. All speculation, all my opinion. These are just things that, you know, I roll over in my head and I think about and as to why. But again, like I said, transparency in clear water seems to work really well, and once you find like a lure that works in clear water, you can really do damage maybe all day without having to switch again. You may not have to switch colors. Dirty water, I find myself switching colors more often. So always be willing to change. Always be willing to change. Always be patient, and you know, you might find something even better. So even if you're on a good one, on a good bite with a good color, maybe you want to change up. Maybe it'll affect the size of the crappie you're catching, or changing the profile of the plastic. Just maybe upsizing would have deterred some of those smaller fish for me the other day. It's all up to you what you want to do on the water and what your goals are. Oftentimes, what I end up catching the very first fish is going to be what I likely catch the rest of the day, even if I move. Very rarely do I move from one location to the other and I start catching bigger fish on my bodies of water. It does not happen very often. So anyways, that's a whole nother story we can talk about another time, but y'all take care, have a good week, and we got some crazy weather coming in. We have a high of almost 80 today, and by the weekend they're going to be highs in the low 40s, so we're going to have an epic system come through. And I don't know if I'm fishing Saturday or Sunday this weekend, but it's going to be very different. Hopefully we'll have a lot of rain, and I don't even know where I'm going to start. We'll see what the weekend brings. We'll see what kind of weather comes this week. So it's going to be an interesting weekend of fishing coming up. So talk to you guys later. Have a good week. Bye.